Good morning, FlossTube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch. I do talk about some other crafty things, most especially paper crafting, and I will be combining scrapbooking with cross stitching as the time goes by, so you will see some more of that. But today we're doing something a little bit different, and we're doing a stitch with me. If you watched my video number 125, you'll notice there was a really hard, abrupt cutoff, and I do apologize for that. I'll talk about that once we get going and get stitching. But I thought, what would be a great way to finish off, tell my giveaway winners, because I did pick them all on camera, but that ended up, what do they say, on the cutting room floor. And then life stuff. So grab your stitching. I have some water with me this morning because Mo and I have already been out for a walk and it was a little bit muggy there at the end, so I figured I better get some water. And yeah, let's do this. If you're new and you clicked on a stitch with me, well, thank you so much. This is not my normal type of video, but I know I got some great feedback and several of you liked my one and only stitch with me that I did. So I thought maybe it'd be fun. I finally have a chair in the crafting room area. I don't always sit here. I sit in other places. I pretty much have a spot in multiple places in the house, depending on where I am and what I feel like doing. But since I have this here and now we can kind of set up, right now I'm surrounded by TV tray tables, although this one may stay because this one is just the right size. But I do have plans to the right of me for more of a storage type of table that I'd be able to put things on. So that'll be coming. But if you click this on, this is a little bit different than what you'll normally see from me. And I will title them FlossTube if they're just the regular. Stitch with me if it's one of those. And then as I get going with either paper crafting where I make cards or, and I'll talk about the stitching scrapbook in a little bit, those will all be titled specifically. So you'll have an idea of what you might be getting if you press play. And if you're a returning friend, thank you so much. Make sure you've got your stitching, hopefully, or your cup of coffee, and if you're just hanging out or whatever, and we can chat. So before I actually, here I am, so I stitch it in hand, if you don't know, so I'm rolling it up because I wanted to stitch on this edge of the piece, but I wanted to do the giveaway information first. So right after where you saw the video on Friday with the shopping and then abruptly stopped, what would have been next, as most of you know, would be giveaways. And I really rambled on the giveaway stuff because we had several, because it was my 3,000 subscriber giveaway. So that did end up getting the boot, which I'll talk about. So I wanted to mention them here. So if you happen to watch this, but this will not be counted as part of the 2 weeks. You know, usually I ask within 2 weeks. So I have a reminder and I will give that person an extra week because, you know, you may not watch a stitch with me, right? So, and the people that won the 3,000, I will give an extra week as well, just so that, you know, if you're on vacation or whatever and you just didn't get a chance to watch, it was through no fault of your own that technology kind of threw me for a loop this week. So let's get that taken care of. So I do want to remind, I have this candy cane Santa. Ooh, you can see things really close up here. It's a Mill Hill Jim Shore kit. And I wanted to remind Justine Dow, that you are the winner in this. So if you get a chance, if you could get back to me with your address, I would love to send this to you. And like I said, I will give another reminder on Friday and hope the video works this time, just because of the way it all worked out. Okay, and then for my giveaway winners, I picked for all three. Number one was a Heaven and Earth pattern of your choice. Number two was Annabella's $25 gift card, and number three was for a $20 gift card to 123 Stitch. So number one, Margaret Schmuss. Congratulations, Margaret. You won a Heaven and Earth pattern of your choice. So contact me and either let me know the name of it, send me a link, however we want to do it, and I will make sure and double check we get the right one to you. Heaven Earth is really cool. I don't even know what I said from this past video or last week. So if I repeat, I'm sorry about that. Heaven and Earth is cool. Charting Creations does it as well, where you can buy a pattern and then you can either choose to download it yourself or you can gift it to somebody just using their email address. So that's kind of neat and it makes it easy. Okay, so number 2 was the $25 gift certificate to Annabella's, and the winner of that is Penny Huffman. Congratulations, Penny. If you could get back to me, let's go back and forth with emails. I've not bought a gift certificate from Annabella's before, so I'll figure it out. And if I need to, if it doesn't say it in the actual listing, I'll contact them. They seem to be pretty on the ball for getting back to people. So we'll figure it out whether or not I just provide an email and they send it straight to you, or if there's a code, I'll figure that out. If you didn't watch Elaine from Annabella's this past weekend, she had a big announcement, which I won't say all of it, but there is potentially instead of just an online needlework shop, she is also opening a brick and mortar local needlework shop as well. So that's kind of cool. Lots of big changes and happenings for her, and I wish her well. Not that she watches, but I have ordered from Annabella's before and I had very good service if you've thought about it but have not ordered from them. And then number 3 was a $20 gift certificate to 123 Stitch. And again, I'm not 100% sure how it works, whether it's emailing directly or codes, but again, the winner and I we'll discuss it and I'll figure it out. And the winner is Ray Ann O'Neill. So Ray Ann, congratulations. If you could get back to me, we'll get you that gift certificate. Alrighty, so I've kept the names and everything numbered so that I can keep track of everything. And as I said, even though the names were picked this week, if there's an issue, there'll be an extra week because of the way the video happenings happened. So plenty of time to get back to me, but do so whenever you can. I'd love to get you some stuff. And then, so giveaways for this week. Originally, when I talked about it, it had completely slipped my mind, to be honest with you, because I was getting so ready for the 3, and I knew I wanted to remind our previous winner for the Mill Hill kit. And I was a little bit just kind of overwhelmed keeping track of everything. And I said I was going to skip giveaway this week. And I still am. But I was thinking last night and this morning, I was thinking about, helping, helping others and so on and so forth. And so this week, in lieu of a giveaway, what I'm going to do, and I am not, I am saying if you can, it's a nice thing to do, but if you can't by any means, I understand. And not everybody has the means to do things at this time. And, I completely understand that. But there is, right now with schools going back, there is something called Clear the List, in which teachers are able to put what they need for the classrooms, because so many schools do not provide any funds for them to buy what they need for their classroom. And that can get so expensive. So I follow somebody on Instagram, and she has a huge document, a Google Doc that she has gotten her links that lists, teachers were invited to fill out the document, the information, and add their wish list. Basically, these teachers will create, anybody can create, but this is teachers for their classroom, a wish list on Amazon, and then it can be shared for people to buy things. And I was looking this morning because I said to Mo, I think I'd really like to do this a little bit. And I was a little disheartened how long it is. And these are just the teachers that, are doing this, as opposed to so many others that either didn't put their name on a list or don't have access to clear the list or whatever. It was just scrolled after person after person after person all over who needed materials for the classroom. And then you click on their link and you buy something and it gets shipped straight to them. Nobody's expecting anybody to clear somebody's entire list, not unless you're a big company. And if anybody has access to a big company that wants to help some teachers out, maybe bring it up to them. But even buying one thing off of the list is helpful, and each little bit that they may get is one less little thing that they have to provide for their classroom. So in lieu of doing a giveaway this week, I'm going to go to the Clear the List massive list. And I feel bad that, I'm only going to pick one person, but I will pick somebody and I will try to get a few things from their list and send them out to them. So again, if you have the ability, maybe check it out. If you don't have the ability, that's okay. That's okay. Just, do the best that you can with what's going on with you right now. And that's all we can ever do. So that's all the giveaway stuff and my little bit. Okay, so now I can pick up my stitching. I could just sit here and talk too, but then I'd never get anything accomplished, would I? I'm trying to figure out how to, my pattern is right down here, right down this way. So if I'm looking down a bit and whatever, obviously it's because I want to look at my pattern. I was trying to figure out where I could put it so that it obviously wasn't visible to the camera because it can't be shown. So what am I stitching on today? I thought because it's only one color and it might be easy that I would pick up my Spring Quaker from Jardin Prive. That's what it looks like right there. And I am stitching it, I'm stitching on Fortnight fabric. Is it Dancing Queen or Night Fever? I don't remember. What I'll do is I'll put the information down below of what I stitched on. So that's what it looks like right now, right? 18 count. I am doing it in number 823, yes, which is a nice, it's not the deepest navy, but it's a very pretty kind of navy. It's one of those, you know how when you see cars, if you look at them in the sun or not in the sun, the color can change. That's the same, I feel like, with this floss. It's just DMC, but depending on the light, it looks really blue and like not a bright blue, but bluer. And then other times it looks more navy and deeper, but I think it's really pretty on the pink. So that's what I'm going to go with. And if you've been here for any length of time, I'm trying to decide which way. I think I want my scissors. This is my little tray of, I always have my scissors. I have a needle minder with needles on it. I don't know what happened to all my needles. There's only 2 left. One that I've already got threaded, which should be right around here somewhere. I might be threading. See, this is why I lose them, because my threaded needle is not there. And then I used to just lick the thread, but I started to take this with me because if I do it in the car and everything else, and my hands are all on sorts of things, and then, and then I always have like a little scissors. And so this, for example, when I travel, it's an Altoid tin that I created to make just a little travel tin. And I have these, one upstairs, one downstairs, so depending on where I'm sitting. And in fact, a lot of my scissors, they are magnetized enough that when you've got them in this, they're stuck to the needle minder, which is nice. And what's nice too is if your needle minders are strong enough, if the whole thing falls, which many a time it has for me, this thing may come out and the scissors may come out, but my needles always stay stuck to the needle minder, which is really quite helpful because I already have needles everywhere. I was pulling out my pajamas one evening before changing and there was a needle stuck in the top of it. How in the world it got there, I don't know. I'm trying to see where that other needle was that was already threaded. And it is already gone. That's funny. Okay, well, luck. Oh, no, it's in my lap. That's like when you're looking for your glasses and they're right on your head, right? All right. So let me get going with this and then let's just chat. So this week's video, it was 1 hour and 10 minutes. I was like, oh, people are going to get some good stitching in. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. And then technology struck. I had it finished and uploading at noon on Friday. And it was taking forever. It was taking forever. And I don't know about some of you, my other floss tubing friends, those of you who, or if you do YouTube and do other types of videos, you might be able to answer this for me as well. Not so every time what I looked up online at Google, most people just had trouble with it staying at one number. But what mine would do, and it did this a couple times, would go up to The first time it went up to 71%, and then it went back to 0 and started the upload all over again. And I Googled this, Googled this, Googled this, and I couldn't find information. It was more of like if it was stuck at 0 or 95 or things like that. There was one thread about that particular problem, but the fix was to shut off a type of virus protection that I don't use, so that really didn't help. So poor Mo, between Friday, I don't even know what day it is anymore, Friday and then Saturday, he was helping me search, issues to the problem, and I would cancel that upload and I'd start again and try a new one. And so this went on for hours and hours on Friday. And, I let some go overnight on Friday, and then I started a new one Saturday morning thinking, okay, maybe it was the traffic. We're in the summer, high tourist levels. There's a strain on the traffic. I don't understand the whole speed usage internet thing. Exactly. So I just use it, but I can't say I know how to explain it. So I said, I woke up at 5 a.m. on Saturday, so why not try it then? And so I did, and things were still going slow. And in fact, I think it rebooted itself to 0 again. So I said, maybe it's for whatever reason, the length of the video, and I have videos that are longer than an hour, but maybe this time, for whatever reason, it just was not going to work. So I looked at what I could cut out, and I said, well, I could cut the life stuff out and just do a stitch with me, which is what I'm doing. But I also, between having 3 giveaways and reminding, the giveaway section was actually quite long because I ramble and I talk in between. So that that section was super long as well. So I did end up cutting out both the giveaway and the life stuff and cut a good chunk of the video off. And it still took about 8 hours or so to upload, and it did, I think it got to 90% and did reboot itself to 0 again, which was really disheartening. But eventually, early in the evening last night, it did end up doing its thing and uploading. So I figured this morning, we got up, it was a nice morning. We went out at 7 o'clock to go for a walk. It was a nice breeze, but it was starting to get a little warm. So we got that done. I ate some breakfast and I said, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this video. So that's what we're doing right here. So thank you so much for putting up for that hard stop of a video. And let's hope in the future that, I guess the moral of my story is, for August especially, I guess I'm just going to have to go with the flow and hope that the uploads will happen on Fridays and just do my very best with them. And if they don't, then I just have to roll with it, right? But it did eventually, it took hours and hours from when the original one was, but it did eventually happen. So I guess that's something I just have to keep in mind. And, I didn't this week put a little note on the channel, but I probably should have. I kind of forgot about it. So if I do have problems, maybe going forward, I will try to create some sort of note there just to, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just to let you know if you were looking for the video and wondering about that. And those of you who did reach out and ask, am I okay? Thank you so much. I said to Mo, look at how caring these people were to check in on me. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciated it. Okay. So those are the upload woes, and let's hope they get better as the summer goes along. I also suspect, I wonder, because just my luck, of all the days off Connor seems to have, he has Fridays off. And kids that age, they game and they stream, right? So he's using a good chunk of our Wi-Fi. And I'm wondering if that is also cutting into it. I don't know exactly how it works. I mean, we have decent speed Wi-Fi, I guess. I don't, that's what Mo tells me. But, if other people are using it, there is a bit of a strain, right? So I don't know if that's part of it. He goes back to school. We go back up to Connecticut in a few weeks, I think, just to both him and I have eye appointments. We haven't found all of our doctors down here yet. So there's a little bit of crossover from there and here. And he needs to get new glasses before school starts. He doesn't wear them all the time, but he does need them for distance. So we'll go there and, do some last minute stuff before taking him to school. And then we'll be back down here and things will be quieter. So maybe then the issues will be resolved as well. So this week was, there was different challenges this week. Some in hindsight, looking back now, can be kind of funny. Some were just, I just got to get through it kind of week. This week, they finally did. Remember this past Friday, but the Friday before, when I was talking about the live stuff, I was talking about the fact that they were getting ready to do the paving. And they were cutting the edge of, they're doing some sort of line, I don't know, evening it somehow or other. And then there was this machine that was cutting a little bit of the grass off and then, doing this nice even line. So the plan was that they were going to be paving on Tuesday. So on Monday, we had to find another place to put our cars because they said during the paving process, we would not be able to drive on the roads. So before they actually got started, you'd have to move your car. Otherwise, you'd be stuck. And so Monday night, we did move our cars. We live smack in the middle of this street right here. It's equally distant from the top and the bottom. So we had to choose one way or the other. And we went to a certain spot. And then we didn't park right away on that street because there's houses there. I went down a little bit where there was a bit more, there's kind of a pond area and stuff so that I wasn't blocking houses and so on and so forth in case they were trying to get out of their driveways and the like. So it was maybe a 5-minute walk. I mean, it's not a huge walk, but it's a walk nonetheless. And more so, the person mostly affected would be Mo with that because he's still on the crutches in the boot. So we did that, and then Tuesday came, and Tuesday morning they were out there, and they had started the paving. They were doing our street, and then there's a little tiny street that just curls around that's off of our street. And those were the first two that they were going to do. We were the tests to make sure they do it right, and the county said that they were doing it right. So it was plugging along just fine on Tuesday, and then early afternoon, all of a sudden it started to pour rain, and they had to stop because obviously you can't pave in the rain. Or I guess I shouldn't say obviously. We found out you can't pave in the rain. It makes sense. And so they left, which, is to be expected. And it rained some, and then it would stop. And then overnight, we got a good dousing. But then it had stopped by morning. And by 9 o'clock, it was quite nice, actually. The sun was out. It was clear. The roads were dry. And nobody was there. And I know a neighbor of mine, she had texted me, and she said, "Hey, have you heard anything about the paving?" And I said, "No, I hadn't, to be honest with you. I don't know what's going on." So I ended up calling the management company that manages our development. And I said, "Hey, just wanted to know, hey, what's going on today?" And she had said that the pavers said that it was too wet to pave and that they wouldn't be coming that day at all. And they would be coming on Thursday. Okay, we were a little bummed about that just because Mo had, on Thursday morning, he had a doctor's appointment. It was his checkup, 6-week checkup from surgery, I believe. And then that afternoon, he had physical therapy because he goes twice a week. So that meant, because they had said once paving is done the following day, you can bring your car back. So our hope was that paving would have been done, okay, maybe the first appointment down to the doctor, he'd have to walk down, or I could have ran down, got the car and brought it back. But for PT, by then, everything would be fine. But unfortunately, not so much. They did come on Thursday, and they did pave and finish, which is good. But Mo, he went down to the car, did the doctor's office, the whole bit, that. Came back, that was fine. And then he had PT, but again, he had parked the car down on the other street because we couldn't get on ours yet. And he he cut it a little close, apparently. I don't go with him to PT. He's able to drive himself because it was his other foot that he hurt. So he's able to drive. And so this way he can kind of go on his own. And apparently he cut it a little close. So he was leaving himself not much time to get to the car. It wouldn't have mattered if he was coming from the house, but because he had to walk down to the car. And I wish I could have seen this because he said afterwards he was walking so fast. Now he's on two crutches and a boot, mind you. He's walking so fast that a neighbor down the road had to stop him and say, "I've never seen anybody walking in crutches so fast in my life." So I can imagine what he looked like there with his boot and his crutches as he was trying to fly. And he's a fast walker. I can't, if he's walking his speed, I can't keep up with him. My short legs, I'm running if I'm going to keep up with him. So he's a fast walker to begin with. And then you add him being late, and it must have been quite a sight. But the good news is that he was able to take everything out cushion-wise from the, I don't know where I have everything here, from the boot. So he's completely flat on his foot with the boot. And they want him on one crutch rather than two. The weight still goes, the majority of the weight is still to go on the opposite foot and hand with the arm with the crutch. But his leg now isn't crutch-free on the left side. His arm is crutch-free, I guess. So it's a little bit easier in the sense of now he can actually carry something when he's walking along. It's still a little awkward, and I think they said it's 2 to 4 weeks, depending on what the physical therapist says. So we're hoping for the 2 weeks rather than the 4, where he can then be full weight bearing on the boot. Pain, depending on what the pain is, right? So that's good news. And then I want to say 6 weeks, he might be able to take the boot off. I think when he goes back to see the doctor, I want to say it's right after the first week in September. Excuse me. He goes back to see the doctor, and hopefully maybe the boot will come off. So that will be great. June to July, August, September, that would be 3 full months he'll have had the boot on. And for the majority of that, he did actually have to wear or use the crutches as well. So, and it's really the crutches that he does not like, to be quite honest with you. Those are the ones that are the toughest thing to kind of go. They're clunky, and they forever, thank goodness there's cushioning on the handles, because they're forever falling. And I'll hear this big thud, and I'm no longer wondering if he's fallen. It's more of, is the crutch just fall? Yes. So luckily we don't have divots in our floors because the padding has saved numerous times the crutches from making a complete mess. So that's his update. Things are going well there, and hopefully they will continue. He's got a decent number of exercises now. So once a day he has to do a series of exercises that takes about 45 minutes. So I can see where it's tough. Some people may not have the time to do their rehab properly, but he's so committed to getting back to pickleball that he's been committed to his exercises too. He puts a little reminder on his phone, and then he does it. Okay, so that's our update there. Okay, so funny story, and maybe some of you can, I know it's all in my head, but I'm not a bug person. I know most of them are harmless, and like on our walk, we saw a decent sized spider, and it was scurrying away, and of course I do my shivers, and Mo's chuckling, and he said, they're more afraid of you, or they're as afraid of you as you are of them. And I said, I know, but they just look scary, and so I'm not a bug person. I understand the value of the bugs in certain cases, but it doesn't mean I have to not feel scared by them. So anyway, we have small little beds in front of the house with different flowers and so on and so forth, which obviously will get the butterflies and the bees, which bees are good for the environment. So I'm cool. I'm not one to go frolic with the bees, but I keep a healthy distance from them. So I was going out at the beginning of the week last week, and there was some really big, giant bees. I mean, big bees, not like fluffy bumblebees, but big, giant bees that were very distinct. They had as stereotypical the black and yellow stripe as you could get on their long body, and then the top of them had red. And like I said to Mo, it was like all of those colors, and so it just totally, oof, I was totally freaked out, to be honest with you. And and they're right by our front door, is where the plants are. So, if I'm going in and out, I'm hugging the side of the house to be as far away from them as possible. And they're zooming around and they're doing their thing and whatever. So a day went on with this, and then Google, you got to Google, right? The Google, figure out what's going on, because I don't know types of bugs or bees. Let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I Googled, and of course I don't know what to Google. I mean, that could make a great series of to see what people Google things for, right? When you don't know exactly what you're Googling. So I put poisonous bees in first, because just because they had the red and they just looked angry, it's like, that's it, they're poisonous bees. Well, of course, the only thing came up was bees being poisoned. I said, well, okay, that's positive that there's no poisonous bees that are being around, so on and so forth. So, then I don't know. I did a series of terms. I'm not even 100% sure what some of them were. They're kind of waspy, so I think I did wasps and this, that, and the other. Well, I eventually did get the right term. So these are a type of wasp called cicada killers. That's a lovely name, right? But I guess what they do is they find the cicadas in the ground. So they're like a ground wasp. They kill the cicada, and then they lay their eggs by the cicada, and that will be what feeds the baby bees. Well, I guess apparently they are one of the most, I saw somebody describe them as gentle giants because they are big. They were described in one article as gentle giants, and you really have to go out of your way. They could sting you, but you have to go out of your way to get them to sting you. They do not want to do that normally. So I felt better about that. I'm still hugging the side of the house, to be honest with you, because I don't necessarily want them to decide that I'm disturbing them and get angry at me for that and then sting me. So that was my bee adventure for the week. And I guess apparently the male version only lasts about 2 weeks, and they work really hard patrolling. And that's what they did look like. They looked like they were patrolling the little perimeter and going around and so forth and so forth. And then the females last maybe a month. I'm not sure. But they're, getting everything ready, I believe, underground. So I don't know. I guess apparently I was reading an article and they were talking about having them in Connecticut, and I had never seen one in my life, to be honest, I lived in Connecticut for over 50 years, right? So that was a new one for me. But apparently if you see a giant bee, waspy looking bee, and I'm talking big. I mean, this thing is a good size, and it's distinct black and yellow stripes, and it's got red kind of towards its head. That could very well be a cicada killer. And if so, you do have to work hard to get them to sting you, but please don't do so. We don't want you stung. So, yeah, me and bugs, oof, I don't know, maybe two with bees. When I was a kid, I was stung on the lip. I must have been, batting. It must have been going on. I must have been batting it, and it stung me on the lip. And I was young. I don't really remember that so much. I don't know if I remember more the story because I was told the story than actually remembering the story. But I wonder if that's part of my healthy caution around bees. I'm not sure. So, and obviously walking barefoot on the ground. I think Megan might have gotten stung one time when she was young, probably 5 or 6, I think she was. Kids walk barefoot on the ground, and if there's a bee on the ground, they're going to sting you if you step on it, right? So, anyway, that was my bee story. And they are starting yesterday. I think I just noticed more of a bumblebee out there than the other bees. So I wonder if they're already hit their life cycle type of thing. So that was another adventure. Again, a little stressful, but we got through it. Between the paving and the bees and Mo going back and forth, it was an adventure during the week, I gotta say. Okay, but I did end the week going to my needlework group. on Thursday, which was really, really nice. I was cranky Thursday morning, I'm not going to lie. And I almost didn't go because I was cranky. And I said, you know what? I might just go and be quiet and just listen. There was only about 5 of us there, and it was just kind of one of those, it was a chill vibe. Do you know what I mean? When different times people have different vibes, and it was kind of very chill vibe, and I found myself relaxing. And by the time I left, I was in a much, much better mood. So I was really thrilled that I went, and I was happy that I had gone. So that ended up my week in a really good note before all the uploading woes. But Thursday morning was a good morning. I did enjoy that quite a bit. And it was hot, and I had to walk there because I had no car because we hold them at our clubhouse, the development clubhouse. And so I was like kind of cranky and sweaty and walking in, but it was nice and cool in there. They had the fans going in the air, and it was just a nice, really nice vibe. And I got a little bit, I think I might have been stitching on this actually, thinking about it. No, I stitched on, the piece I stitched on was the piece I actually forgot to show you this past week in Friday's video. Well, it was Friday's video, but it only uploaded yesterday. So you'll see that next week because I have it in my pile of things to show the next video. So I did stitch on that, and I got some good progress. So, and then the only other thing I wanted to talk about was when I was frustrated with the uploading not happening, I came up to the craft area and I said, what can I do? You know, obviously I could stitch, but I was almost a little bit too, anxious is the wrong word. I couldn't sit still type of thing. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to fix it. I didn't know how to fix it. And so that was, you know, kind of the frustrating part of it all. And let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Oh, so that's got to be a second piece there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So I came upstairs and I said, what could I do? And I went through my under the bed box that has all of my finished cross stitch that nothing has been done with. And so some of them, I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. So they're kind of in a I don't know pile. I separated everything. I took everything out and I separated it. Then I've made a lot of little smalls that I would like to do some sort of ornament type of thing. Many of them are Christmas, but there are some that are other holidays that I could kind of maybe up here somewhere in the crafting area, I can have one of those small tabletop trees or something or other, and then I can hang the different seasonal ornaments from. So I put those aside because those would be finished differently as well. And then there are some that I do when I get the shelving up on that wall. There's some that whether I frame them or I just wrap them in, you know, with the mat board and maybe layered them with then fabric. I don't know. Or they could be framed. We'll see. You know, things like Lady Halloween may stay out all year round. My Mary Poppins piece I'd like to keep out. There are some definite pieces that I'd like to keep out. So I went through everything else, mostly smaller stuff for the moment, because obviously it has to fit into a scrapbook. And I designated those as most likely stitching scrapbook pieces. So it was kind of a chicken or an egg. I was going to iron the interfacing on the back of them because with those pieces, I do want to iron interfacing on it. And that will help. First, it kind of closes off the stitching, but it'll also help. Then I'll use that area to attach the tape to whatever I'm attaching the piece to, right? I mean, that's what I did with my little artist trading card. So what am I doing here? Okay, there we go. And so I was thinking, okay, I'll iron all the interfacing first. But then some of the pieces have a lot of extra fabric, and I obviously I don't want to waste the interfacing. I do want to make sure I get more than just the stitching part, just so that if I have to cut it down, everything will be neat. So I said, no, I'm not going to iron my interfacing first. I'm going to cut down all of the extra fabric. And I think for most of these pieces, I left between 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch of border to give me some wiggle room, because I don't necessarily know what or how I'm going to finish them or what this process is going to look like. I'm kind of making it up as I go along using my card making background. So I went through and I pulled out, I just have one of those kind of self-healing mats, and I did buy myself you know, the rotary cuttery thing, and then the clear big rulery thing that I think quilters use. I don't know. I don't know the names to any of these official things because I don't do that. If you ask me what papercraft stuff is labeled, I can tell you that. Not so much some of these other crafting pieces. But so I took all of that out, and then I went through and I did all the pieces that I know for a fact are going to go into the scrapbook, stitching scrapbook. And so now I have a nice big, I have them, I wanted to clear out, I didn't want to do anything to my camera while everything was uploading, because I do all of my filming and uploading and everything through my phone and take pictures and all that through the phone. So now that all that has been done, I want it, before I kind of pile the stuff up a bit or get to the interfacing part, I want to take a picture. I can show you all of the pieces, just all kind of piled up of the pieces that are going into the scrapbook. So we're getting there. I have gotten them cut down. I now want to do the interface background, backing, and then we can really start getting to the crafting bit of that. So I am super excited to have this finally moving along, because, you know, the pile is a decent enough pile, and I'd like it, the scrapbooks can be kind of placed out and about. Even that can be on a shelf or something in the crafting room here, and so it'd be a nice way to be able to look through things and so on and so forth. And I do, in a couple cases, I do want to combine the stitched piece on a page with some actual photographs, and kind of multimedia it, because it kind of goes with different things that might, you know, the photographs would kind of also help tell the story. So that is my thought process with that. So hopefully we're getting there. I know so many of you asked about it in order to get some more info, because maybe you've not done that before. So I am getting good and close and ready. And when we start creating some of these pages, I will do some extra videos to talk about the process and the supplies and everything else that I am using. There's no one right way. I mean, there are so many different crafting supplies that there's lots and lots of different ways to do it. But this will just be one way as a possibility for you. If you are looking for places, I have the wall space, but it's not a decor item that really is Mo's thing. And I respect that. You know, we live in this house together. So I'm not going to have cross stitch all over my house. It is going to be basically in this room alone. So that's limited wall space, limited tabletop space, right? And I want to be able to have these things where I could easily see them. So I think a scrapbook is a great option and solution for me. And that way I don't have a lot of extra stuff. I mean, you can mount pieces on all sorts of things and it looks beautiful, but that's stuff, to be honest with you. And we don't have a basement. We do have a crawl space, but it's not an area that's easily accessed. So it's not like I can just jump right in there. And Mo physically can't go in right now. And we have more wall space than we do have storage space. So we have to be creative in a lot of ways. So if I buy all this stuff to mount pieces on, unless it's out all the time, I have to have a place to store it. And I just don't have the space for that. So I think this is for me, a really good option and solution. And maybe if you are in the same boat as, either you can't put things on your wall, depending if you're renting or whatever, or you don't want to and you don't have space, this might be a good option. And there might be things that you wanted to stitch that maybe you just, you for the pure joy of stitching them as opposed to putting it out. I mean, that's a lot of the pieces I pick aren't necessarily, well, I'm going to display them all the time out and about in my living room. I just really liked the stitch and I wanted to do it for that reason. And it opens up a lot of possibilities for me of things that I wouldn't necessarily have thought I would or could or wanted to stitch. So hopefully maybe that'll be of interest to some of you as well. I do want to, I showed you that the stitched finished ATC, the little beach huts on my longer video. And I do want to finish that. I have some ideas swirling in my head, but I'm not 100% sure. If I can figure out what I'm doing to fully finish that, I will film a small, like finishing video, because I know some of you are not quite sure what to do with the stitched part. And I talked with Amy Clarissa, who is a much better seamstress, well, heads and shoulders better than me, because I really can't sew. And I think she may do at one point a finishing video, because I think she would finish them differently than I do. So if she does that, I will let you know, and I will link that, because again, she's very, very talented, and those talents are different than mine, which would be great for having all sorts of variety of ways to see how to do something. But I know some of you were really interested in possibly trading or swapping. I was combining those words. But we're a little intimidated on how to do the finish or whatever. And so I do want to get something like that out there. And then if she is able to be able to make one, I will let you know as well, because that may be an easier way for you to finish than the way I do it. And I get that. Everybody's got different supplies and ways of doing things. So that's what makes it so cool to see all the different crafts that are out there. And that, my friends, I think is it. That's all I've got to talk about. But see, if I had tried to do all of that, I actually talked about more. The bees didn't get a chat. At the end of the last video, I had said, remind me to tell you about the bees. So now I was able to tell you about the bees. And I can't remember if there was something else. If it comes to me, I'll mention it in next week's video of whatever. There was something else life-wise that I was going to talk about. And I had said, oh, remind me about that. So I'll talk about it the next video. So that's my week in a nutshell. It is now, right now here, it is Sunday morning. And I think I might watch the Women's Euro Championships, where England is playing Germany. Stellar. As those of us in the US say, soccer, or for those of you over the pond, football. The level of skill and talent has been phenomenal to watch. I've watched a few of the games here or there, and so I would like to watch the finals. And I don't have a stake in the game, so I'm not rooting for either side necessarily, but it's great to see that women's sports, it's sold out, I think, and the support is fabulous. So I think I'm going to do that. It's getting a little warm. And at that time of day, too, I'm not sure where we would go with Mo, especially with the tourist crowds right now. And then other than that, that's it. I got to make a grocery list. I have to go grocery shopping tomorrow morning. Beat the crowds and get out there first thing. So I have to figure out what we're going to eat this week. I have no idea. Last night I had no interest in cooking at all. And I'm not one that 100% of the time eats perfect, or 100% of the time eats junk food or whatever. You know, I do the best I can for most days. And then every once in a while you're like, I just can't do it. So there is Flatbread Pizza has a vegan pizza. And we usually have one in the freezer just in case for nights like that. So that was what we had for dinner last night, was we did the vegan pizza from Flatbread. It's 9 minutes in the oven, so it's quick when it's warm, and it's tasty, and I just didn't feel like cooking, and I didn't feel like much. So we shared that, and that was great. But now I need to get back to thinking about what I'm going to be cooking for the week. So figure that out, make up a list, and grocery shopping is the big thing on my list now. That's my errand. I can't remember who did it on Instagram, just on their stories. There was a little blurb that said, I'm getting to the age where running errands classifies as going out. And that's pretty much where I am at the moment. So that's my big adventure. But anyway, now I hope you got some good stitching in. Let me finish that X. I'm just going to attach the needle right here. And I figured it would be easy enough to work on the letters. So that's the part that I did while I was talking with you, was right down here. I did half of E, G, a little bit of H, J, a little bit of K, finished the M, and starting the R. So again, this is the full piece, what it looks like. Jardin Prive, Spring Quaker. And wow, I think this is longer than my regular videos. So I hope you got some stitching in. I hope you enjoy yourself this week, whatever it is. Hope you're well, hope you're safe, and happy stitching.